Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our curious viewers, Larry for Life. Thanks for the suggestion, Larry. You asked, how is instant coffee made? Now, instant coffee is like that one friend who shows up already ready to go. No warm-up, no stretching, just boom, done. One scoop, hot water, and you've got a cup of coffee faster than you can say triple shot iced caramel macchiato with whipped cream. But how exactly does it transform from a humble coffee bean into those magical little crystals that dissolve instantly? Stay tuned as we pull back the curtain on instant coffee, right here on Explaining Everything. First things first, instant coffee doesn't skip the coffee-making part. It actually starts the same way as your regular cup. Coffee beans are harvested, roasted, and ground, just like the ones you'd buy for your fancy French press that you swore you'd use every morning, but actually used twice. The roasted beans are ground, then brewed in gigantic industrial coffee machines that make Starbucks look like a kiddie lemonade stand. This isn't just a small pot of coffee. It's brewed in massive tanks that can produce thousands of gallons at once. It's like coffee on steroids. The brew itself is super strong, way stronger than your average cup. We're talking jet fuel for the soul. They need it that way because the next step is removing almost all the water. That's right. Instant coffee is basically coffee concentrate that's been dried out until it's just powder or crystals. One of the main methods to turn this mega brew into instant coffee is called spray drying. And if that sounds like a water park ride, it kind of looks like one too. Here's how it works. The strong coffee is sprayed through a giant nozzle into a tall chamber filled with hot air. As the tiny coffee droplets fall, the water evaporates and they land at the bottom as dry coffee powder. It's like a coffee rainstorm, but instead of needing an umbrella, you need a giant mug. The result? Fine coffee powder that dissolves almost instantly when you add water. But spray-dried coffee doesn't always look as appealing. It can be a bit dusty and flat in flavor. It's the kind of coffee that says, I'll get the job done, but don't expect fireworks. Still, it's super efficient and keeps costs down. So, if you've ever had the budget version of instant coffee that tastes like caffeinated cardboard, chances are it was spray-dried. Now, if spray drying is like running through the coffee process at full speed, freeze drying is more like putting coffee in a sci-fi cryo chamber. And this is where the fancy instant coffee brands flex. Here's what happens. The brewed coffee is frozen into slabs, then broken into chunks that look like weird brown ice cubes. Those chunks are placed into a vacuum chamber, and instead of just melting into liquid again, the ice goes straight from solid to gas in a process called sublimation. When the water vapor leaves, what's left are those chunky golden crystals you see in jars of nicer instant coffee. Freeze drying is slower and more expensive than spray drying, but it locks in more flavor and aroma. So when you open the jar and smell it, it actually smells like coffee, not like dust from an office break room circa 1997. Once the coffee is dried, whether spray or freeze, it's sifted, sorted, and packed into jars, sachets, or tins. Then it's shipped out to fuel students, office workers, and parents who have exactly 12 seconds to prepare caffeine before chaos erupts. And let's be real, instant coffee has been saving lives since World War II, when soldiers needed something quick to keep them awake. It became popular worldwide because you don't need a grinder, filter, or any patience. Just hot water. Done. It's coffee's version of microwave dinner, but one that doesn't make you regret your life choices. Of course, coffee snobs might roll their eyes at instant coffee. They'll talk about their single-origin, hand-poured Ethiopian beans that were blessed by monks and ground by moonlight. That's great, but instant coffee doesn't pretend to be fancy. It's honest about what it is. Fast, simple, caffeinated. The humble hero of mornings when you'd rather sleep another 20 minutes than wait for a pour-over. So, to recap, it starts as regular coffee, brewed super strong, then dried either by spray drying or freeze drying. The end result is a powder or crystal that dissolves instantly into your cup, ready to jolt you awake and remind you that yes, it is in fact Monday again. Sure, it may not win awards for taste, and no one's writing poetry about it, but instant coffee is the caffeine equivalent of a reliable sidekick. It's there when you need it. It never complains, and it doesn't ask for anything in return, except maybe a spoon. So next time you rip open a packet or twist open a jar, remember, that quick fix in your cup went through a surprisingly high-tech journey just to wake you up in 5 seconds flat. And honestly, that deserves a toast. Or at least a very jittery high five. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the creation of instant coffee, don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe don't drink too much. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other bingeable channels. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.